Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Kinda Hot, Kinda Healthy. Maddie is in a different location. If you guys want to see that, go to the YouTube. Maddie, where are you?
I am in Colorado in Denver right now.
Living your best life.
Yes, I'm like, where does she live? I can't remember what area I'm in specifically, but yeah, quite literally living my best life.
I love that. Oh my God. Okay, so for you guys listening, Maddie's sister, she moved to the Denver area. How long ago?
Mhm. Oh, good question. She moved when I was in Mexico, so like I think around Thanksgiving time or something.
Okay. So, and before that, were you guys like always in close, like living proximity to each other, or were you kind of spread out?
Yeah, we lived like really close. She was like in like, maybe like 15, 20 minutes, like Pittsburghish. And
Yeah.
then she moved to like bumfuck nowhere in Butler. It was like 45 minutes away. And I was like, oh my God, this is the longest trek ever. Yeah. And so then, and I like didn't see her as much then, of course. And then now it's like, even less, but coming here is nice.
Yeah. So I was talking to my sister today, and I
Mhm.
feel that we have such similar experiences in some ways, like being the younger sister and the older
Mhm.
sister, like leaving us and going
Mhm.
places. And it was so funny because my sister will be home. I think she comes home July 10th, and she'll be home for like over a year. And that's going to be like really weird because she's like,
She'll be
no.
home for a year?
Yeah, over a year. She'll be home.
Whoa.
Yeah, she's like, she wants to come home because James and I are doing like wedding stuff. We have different events. Two of her friends are getting married, and one of our other friends will be coming home from Florida, or she'll be
Mhm.
visiting back up here,
Mhm.
from Florida. So like she has different kind of events. Um, but she'll be home from July to October of 25 because
Oh,
we get
wow.
married in September. So
Mhm.
I'm like, "Ugh, girl, I feel like you are gonna be losing your
Yeah.
mind." And she's like
No,
been living in
that
Asia for like 5 years, you know?
uh-huh.
So I was like, oh my God, like whenever she comes home, it's always just like kind of if it's a long period of time, she feels, all the feels. And then I'm like, I have nothing. Like, I love where I live, but I'm like, I feel like this is
Mhm.
like not super exciting for you. But I love where I
She
live, so
is she staying with you?
oh God, no. Sorry, Kate. Peace and love. No. She wouldn't want to anyways. Because my
Mm.
parents, she can take the bus, she can take the train up here. Like we got tractors. You want to hop on the tractor? Like there's like our closest city is Concord, which it is kind of cute, but it's like 20 minutes on the highway from where we live.
Mhm.
So yeah, she definitely wouldn't want to stay here. She'll probably come up for like a couple days at a time, but
Yeah.
um she doesn't have a car, so like it's just we'll have to
Oh,
coordinate.
yeah.
Yeah.
What is she doing work-wise? Teaching here?
No, I think, well, I don't know what she's doing. She's gonna get a
Mhm.
remote job, but she'll still tutor her kids
Mm.
online because a lot of she does like just basically extra English tutoring with them. So I'm sure she'll still do that. Just to kind of keep like the connections up. It's not like a ton of money, like like either like she was tutoring in Thailand and in Vietnam. So like the baht and dong to USD is like it's nothing. But she's
Mhm.
like, I want to be able to keep those connections up. So then when I go back,
Yeah.
and it's something that she does enjoy as well, but I don't know
Mhm.
what she's looking for. Last time she was home, it was like, was it last summer? Maybe. Or 2 summers ago? I don't remember.
Mhm.
Um, she was like painting with my dad. He's a house painter.
Mhm.
And I went for like 3 days one time because she was like, come on, it'll be like, I don't want to be alone. It'll be fun. And I'm like, first of all, it won't be fun, but like, I'll go because like you just got home and I kind of want to hang out with you. I was like, Kate, I can't
Mhm.
do this. I was like, this fucking sucks. I didn't pee for 8 hours one day. Yeah. I was like, I can't do this. It's horrible. Horrible.
Oh, yeah, no. We painted my office and I wanted to die.
Yeah. I was like, Kate, I literally cannot do this. And she's like, I know it's tough work, but someone's got to do it. And she like is way more like she'll do the shit like that, but I'm like,
Yeah.
Kate, like I can't. Like this is actually such hell, and I'm not
Mhm.
doing this. Peace and love. So
Yeah, I get
I don't
that.
know if she's gonna be painting this summer, but I will not be there because she's trying to rope me into it again. I'm like, no, no, no. She's like, come on, it's some good cash. I'm like, no, no, it's not.
No, oh yeah, no, painting is hard, really
Yeah,
hard, and like your arms hurt. I mean, we painted our gym garage, our
yeah,
garage gym garage, and that was a lot of freaking work. And then
yeah,
just one room, I was like,
yeah.
I'm done for the rest of my life. I will hire someone.
Yeah, it just sucks. It literally sucks. Like, but you know what? Go off. Do
Hmm.
do the things that make good money. Because someone was like, "Does your dad like love painting?" And I'm like, "Fuck no." Who like do people that do like labor intensive jobs, do they love it? Like, n no,
I
probably
think
not.
some people do. I think some people do.
What's an example?
Um, our mutual internet friend Hannah Brandt, her
Yeah.
husband started his own like carpentry business. I think he really loves it.
Well, I think that's different. Like if you're doing carpentry, woodworking, you're building something beautiful.
You're painting something beautiful. Looks nice, clean.
But I don't think he like I think does he I wonder if he like makes custom pieces for people.
I think he does.
Because that's like a passion versus like if someone is hiring my dad, it's like, oh, paint our house. It doesn't look great, like blah blah blah. And he's just
Yeah.
like, all right, yeah, whatever to do. Like he's not. It's not invested.
Yeah.
Because I
No, that
think
makes sense.
carpenters, there's a passion, there's an investment.
Mhm.
You see the
Mhm.
vision. So I get that.
Mhm.
That yes, that is
Yeah.
a manual labor job where I feel like people get the vision. They see it.
Yeah.
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 Shout out if you want some woodworking done.
Shout out to Hannah Brandt's husband. I don't even know his name. I don't know anything. I just remember her talking about it one time.
Shout out. That's so
Oh
funny.
God. I know. I know.
So
You know
what
what?
has
I
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
You go. You go.
There you go. As I know you're gonna ask me. Go ahead.
What has the agenda been like so far in Denver? Like how so going back
Oh.
to like the sister thing, like isn't it
Mhm.
so like it's for me it's like kind of awkward and exciting to be like, oh my God, we haven't seen each other in so long and it's just like this is
Mhm.
weird, but then you fall right back into like your like sisterness. I don't know. It's a weird feeling to describe.
Yeah, I think it might be different because you guys go even longer without
Yeah.
seeing each other, and this was only like 8 months for me and Bree, so it wasn't like, a year, but 8 months is, like, pretty long still.
Yeah.
Um, but oh my god, we've just been, like I haven't laughed this much, like, my throat was hurting, like, from just
Oh,
laugh. I know, and it's just, our mannerisms are, like, literally the same. We have the same, like, laugh, and it's just funny, like, having, like, times 2, and her poor husband's, like, putting up with us because 'cause we're loud and, like, literally conjoined twins, but not twins at all. But I've been busy, like, she just
yeah.
loves, like we take her dog Bird, her dog's name is Bird, for a walk, and there's just so many trails here, and
Mm,
people are just so much healthier. Like, it's just really I love how there's so much sun here.
mhm.
It's just a lot more. I don't know. It's way better than Pittsburgh. Like F Pittsburgh. I mean, it's like big drinking culture, and which here is too, but
Yeah.
in just like Yinzer football, like it's just something I didn't grow up that way, so I've
Yeah.
just never like we didn't grow up like going to football games or watching football games, so we're just not like intertwined in that way or like
Yeah.
drinking beer. And that's just kind of like Pittsburgh reminds me of that, but they have
Okay.
like great biking trails and whatnot. But I just really love it. But we went to a really good Italian restaurant last night for her birthday. It was so good. Um, and then tonight she's getting another tattoo tonight, and then we're going somewhere else, and then we have a another dinner tomorrow, and it's goth themed. So I got a black dress for that, so that's fun. But there's just so much stuff to do. Like it's
Yeah.
really fun here.
It's definitely a it's more of a lively city.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
super walkable, super accessible,
Mhm.
whereas a lot of places I feel like in the Northeast are just not,
Mhm.
right? They're
Yeah.
just not. And
Yeah.
the vibe is like different. Like the sun really makes people gorgeous human beings. Like the sun is
Oh,
everything. And when like
yeah.
it's fucking gray outside and I would not be like I'm in a fine mood, but if somebody like was coming up, oh hey, I'd be like, all right, whatever the fuck. If the sun is
Mhm.
out, if the birds are singing, I'm a delight. So
Mhm.
get
Yeah,
that.
people are so much friendlier here. I've noticed
Yeah.
that. They've noticed that. Even, like, her husband was like, "I didn't realize how much the sun affected my mood, how much, like, happier they are here." Like,
Mm.
I mean, we the first day, it was, like, 15,000 steps. I'm like, "Oh my god." Like, it's just a lot. I'm like, "I could get used to this," you know?
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know, I love it. I'm like, how do I move here?"
Yeah. How do I like pick up life and just
Mhm.
bring everything that I want with me and just like drop it next to my sister?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. I feel that. I feel that sometimes. But also, we would not be happy, like my sister and I, we would not be happy living the same lives as each other. It's like we are so polar opposite in some ways,
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
she's so extroverted. She doesn't like to have a lot of things she's like attached to. Like she just wants to be able to get up
Mm.
and go and whatever. So it's really funny in that way. I'm like, we could not be more different, but then also so fucking similar. Like you said, with like the mannerisms, the humor, like you just
Mhm.
when I'm like saying stupid shit, I'm just like, you get it, and she's like, I fucking get it. Like that's hilarious. Where other people are like,
Mhm.
what are you talking about? You know, like it's a sister
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, and we've been saying, like, because we've talked about this a lot when it comes to, like, making friends and stuff, like,
yeah,
having and you will relate to this because you have a sister. I think having a good sister relationship almost ruins all other friendships that you could make
mm,
because no one's ever gonna compare to that bond you have with a sister,
right,
and there's probably siblings out there of the same gender that, like, don't click at all, barely talk. I've heard of that, people that happens to. But I don't know, it's just like I think it's hard personally for me to make friends with other females because then it's like I'm comparing it to, like, my relationship with my sister,
sure.
and it's, like, never the same.
No, it's never the same. Totally. I have me and my sister, we grew up with our best friend in settings we say cousin because it's just always easier, but
Yeah.
really she was like another sister.
Mhm.
Because we just grew up together. I used to tell people, I was like, "Oh, me and Caroline were born in the same hospital on the same day."
Remember that, yeah.
And she's like 9, like 6 months older than me, 7 months older than me. But as a kid, it was just always she is there, like she is my
Mhm.
sister. And
Mhm.
so them two are like, I have a hard time, like similarly, not putting other friends in that, looking at them in that way because I
Yeah.
can't expect what these two give me. Um,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like and it's hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta humble yourself. You're like, look, like I can't expect that from everybody because
I know.
these like sister or pseudo sisters, they have seen you at your worst, at your best. They've been there. They didn't really have an out. So even when they hated you, it was like, I'll get over it because like
Yeah.
you're my fucking person. But in other
Yeah.
relationships, it totally, yeah, it makes your brain kind of like murky. You're like, oh, why? Why aren't they just like thinking my every thought?
Literally though, right? I can't remember like what was said, but there was like a couple words and then we were laughing and then we said the same exact thing, but like the other words like weren't repeated. We just said it at the same
Yeah.
time. I was like, that is so like disturbing
Yeah.
that we just like, knew exactly what to say. I don't know. But it's fun being around that, and then also at the same time, like you said, it's like,
Yeah.
depressing when it's like, I'm never like and she was even we were again talking about making friends and, like,
Yeah.
she's made a good group of friends here that she's, like, really, really happy with, and she was like, "It took me a long time to get here, so, like,
Yeah.
don't get discouraged you haven't gotten there yet," but I'm like, "Damn, like, when am I gonna get there?" You know? Like, she
Yeah.
went on a lot of Bumble BFF dates and
That's
tried with a
what
lot of
Kate does
people, and
too. And I'm just
I
like,
know.
I just don't want to do that. Like, just point blank, I don't want to do that.
It's just like I agree. It's just like I would rather with my free time go on a bike ride, go do
Yeah.
something fun than like sit there over coffee making small talk,
Yes.
debating if I want to see you again. I'm gonna
Right.
be honest. That's like where
Right.
I'm at.
So that's our problem. Like you know what? We have to get out of our own way because it's like, oh, we want to make new friends, but we don't want to do the things. where you make new friends
Yeah.
because like but I get it. Like I like you can feel two things at once because sometimes I'm like, shit, I wish I had more friends up here because I end up like either I'm on FaceTime with my sister, my friend, or my mom, or like maybe two other friends. But like I'm
Mhm.
like this I want to be like yesterday I was literally saying to my mom, I was like, I need you here in person because I keep just sending you pictures and I have questions and like I just need another set of eyes. And I'm like,
Mhm.
this is why you need to make friends so you can like
Yeah.
be a normal person, but it's hard. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's like the little sister syndrome or we're just I don't know what the hell it is, but it's a little bit hard because we have a lot to compare to and like we need to like not
I
do that.
know. And it's just like that we have high expectations of like deeper than surface level
Hmm.
friendships. So it's like I
Hmm.
just can't take those. I can't. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I can't.
No, I can't. It like it just is like boring to me. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, bye.
Literally. I'm like,
Uh,
this is great and all, but I need to go because I can't talk about stupid shit anymore.
mhm,
Just I can't just like you if we're like getting drinks somewhere. And like that I think you're fun for that. Like I'm sorry. Like we got to go a little bit deeper to like actually be able to like have a real friendship. Like I was telling you the other day, I texted you the other day, but I was like, there is not a day goes by that we don't communicate
I
in
know.
some way, shape, or form. And like that is hilarious and psychotic. And I love it because the only other person that I really do that with is James, because like I don't talk to all of my friends or my mom every single day. It's most days, but I'm
Mhm,
like, look at my
mhm.
and Maddie's conversation. I'm like, it is a stream of consciousness.
Nonstop. Literally
Literally.
nonstop.
Literally.
Yeah,
And
it's that's what
so yeah,
go ahead.
we're just the best friends. Like we are the best friends. And
Yeah.
other people, they just can't be as good as friends as us.
No, you know what? They'll never say like they're just doing the podcast because they're making money, but they hate each other. That will never be our issue.
It never will. I mean, like, they can't make me hate you.
I'm just unhateable. I'm sure I am hated out there in some community.
There's like Reddit pages like 20 years down the line when we're like big and famous. There's Reddit pages, like snark pages of like hating us.
Uh,
Like that,
like she's not
honestly.
even Mexican. She thinks she can speak Spanish.
But actually, oh my God, those
Uh,
pages are absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I've never seen them.
Oh my God. Oh, what? Like any of your favorite podcasts, like Vile
Uh-huh.
Files. If you were to go on
Oh,
like
I'm sure there's
Vile
one.
Files Snark, like it's anything and it'll be Snark.
Snark.
And it's
Okay.
just all these like haters and just pulling out all of anything you say and kind of like manipulating and just like it's
Mhm.
crazy. Reddit is such a great and fun resource at times, but then it's also like so crazy toxic and like terrible for your mental health. Like if
Yeah.
you make it anywhere in life, like on the internet wise, I don't think like
Mhm.
celebrities give a shit about it. But if you're like on the
Yeah.
internet, don't look at them because it would probably
Oh,
like destroy your
God.
soul.
Yeah, I'll forever avoid that. I've literally never, like, looked on, like, Reddit pages like that. Like, I've looked, like, random stuff up, and I'm like, "Oh, I wonder what's on Reddit," but I've never, like, looked
Yeah.
at a person on Reddit, but,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna avoid that. Mhm.
I would. I would. The only reason why I like know about Reddit is like one of my like best friends, she doesn't have Instagram. Like she deleted
Mhm.
it and she deleted TikTok for a little bit, but she was like, I love Reddit. Like when I am bored, I'm gonna read some Reddit stories. So she'll send me all
Mhm.
of these stuff, and then I find myself like doing deep dives, and I'm like,
Mhm.
this is insane. Like I don't need another obsession. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't need to add that to the list of things that I need to, like,
Literally.
check up on, you
Yeah,
know?
I had to delete the app. I had to.
That's smart. Uh, what
Yeah.
is new with you? Anything new?
Um, Nothing new. As we're recording this,
Mhm.
my birthday is in
9 days.
9 days. I said 10 earlier, so I'm really good at math.
Mm,
But when this comes out on, I think it's like the end of May, we'll have just done like our engagement, like photo shoot pictures. So I'm super, super
mm.
excited about that because I feel like sending out the save the dates is like
Mm-hmm.
That's like things are getting real. Like we've put down a ton of deposits. We're hemorrhaging money. It's a lot. Like it's so much fucking money. It's like
Uh-huh.
makes me want to vomit, but at the same time, I don't know. It is what it is, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just what it costs. And
Mm-hmm.
it'll be fine. It'll be great and like whatever. But I'm actually excited to like get those pictures back, send out the save the dates, have like that tangible thing because everything else has been kind
Mm-hmm.
of like just in the air. Like it's just payments we're sending out. And I'm like, I want something tangible, please. So
Yeah, no, I get that.
it's crazy. Like, God, how do we get into the wedding industry? I don't know.
Um,
Because they aren't
that's not
paying
one
my
I want
ass
to be a
enough.
I that's
Yeah.
not what I want to be in. Angry
Yeah,
brides?
it's
No,
true.
thank you. No thanks.
So I'm gonna make a business where I only work with absolute delights. And if you're not an absolute delight, then there will be a fee and I will quit. So I don't know how I'm
How
gonna make that happen.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean, think about how many times people apply for things and they're like, "Yeah, I do that," and they don't do that or they aren't like that, like you're gonna
There'll be a clause and they will have to sign, they will read that fine print.
Mhm.
I don't
I
know.
like that.
I don't know how I'll do it, but I will try and find it because like it's absolutely insane. And like I have I've showed it to you before, but I have like a poster board that has like to
Mhm.
do and done. And we've done a good amount of stuff, but at the same time I'm like there's literally still so much to do and this makes me want to vomit. Like it's a lot of
Mm,
work, but
yeah.
it'll all be worth it, I guess. Sure, I'll be excited when it happens, but right now I'm just like, I would like to get the save the date sent out so I can feel a real sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, you're very close. You're like what, a couple weeks out?
Yeah, well, we're gonna send them out mid end of July. Like they have to be out in
Oh,
the mail
okay.
by July. So we're taking our pictures. She'll do like a preview, you know how like after your wedding you got like
Yeah.
a preview. So she'll do that. If we in the preview we like one of them, we want to use it for the save the date, we'll get them out a little bit earlier, but she has like a 4 to 6 week turnaround. So
Gotcha.
it'll be
Gotcha.
right in the time, but that is like my brain is like wedding all the time. And sometimes
Mhm.
I just want to scream because it's a lot.
Oh, yeah, it was a lot when I planned a micro wedding, and I
Yeah.
didn't even want to have a wedding, and I didn't wanna think about anything, and it was, like, slight disaster with my mom
Oh
and her
no.
best friend. Yeah, because I didn't wanna do anything,
Yeah.
like, I didn't want that stress of planning on me at
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
so I gave it to 2 people, and it wasn't like they were communicating well enough, so then things got like, "I didn't do this,"
Oh.
or, "This didn't get done," so then I just was like, "Just take it over, mom, like, mom, do everything, please."
Hmm.
And then so her and, her best friend Jerry, who is like our uncle pretty much, they, like, put together it looked so good, and he was in the
Wow.
flower industry for a long time, so
Yeah.
really good at decorating. So they ended up like putting it together. But if I were to go back, I would have said from the get go, you guys just do it. Don't just show me your ideas and that be it, because it was just the stress of like, well, I didn't hear back and this didn't happen. And, like I
Yeah.
hate that. I hate that.
Did you not care about any of the detail? Like you were fine with them doing whatever? Or did you say, I want this, do it this way, and then leave me alone?
I didn't want it to be like fall themed. So I didn't want like
Right.
pumpkins. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I didn't want like stuff like that. So I was kind of giving those type of parameters, but then it was uh like one person was like, "Oh, I'll do this," and then that like never got done. So then it was just
Ugh.
like not good communication. So then I
Yep.
was just like, "Okay, you take over. Tell me when it's done." Like I don't have brain cells left for this. Like it's just like the stress of it. And that's why I probably should have I kept putting the planning off because I didn't
Yeah.
want to plan and I should have
Yeah.
just said from the get-go, do this and take it over.
Yep.
You know, ask me for like final decisions, but I don't want pumpkins and like be on your way.
That is like
Uh,
super funny because you know there are some cheesy ass like fall weddings like
yeah.
no. Yeah, we're like in September, so I don't want like I'm very specific what I want and what I
Mhm.
do not want. Um and that's why I am like spearheading everything because I'm so fucking type A that if I try and give the reins to anybody else, I'm just going to be micromanaging. So I'm
Yeah.
just going to do it and I'm
I get
happy
it.
to do it, right? I'm happy
I
to do
get
it.
it.
So, it is what it is. And like mentally, it's a lot. Like they don't talk
Yeah.
about in regard. We're going to get into this right now. Here's our segue. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. When you are getting married, not enough people talk about the anxiety, the stress, the fucking
Mm-hmm.
just overwhelming feeling of it all. It's like, oh, it's just
Mm-hmm.
exciting and beautiful, and you're a blushing bride. And it's like, bitch, like, let's be real. Like, this shit is really fucking stressful. So I'm like in my
Mm-hmm.
era of like
Stress.
trying to manage that stress and just like in therapy, it's constantly like, what tools are we using? How are we
Mm-hmm.
doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just a lot of pressure. And like it's also a lot of pressure for like the person that you're marrying. Like, and oftentimes, like in like a, I guess like in a straight marriage, like the guy traditionally doesn't like do a lot or have a say.
Oh, yeah.
And
That
I
was an
hate that
issue.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of stress though. Like, and I could see exactly why you wouldn't, you would be more frustrated with planning because I told James like consistently, I'm like, you are being involved in this. You want a bigger wedding, you're being involved in this. Or if I make the
Mm-hmm.
decisions, you don't say shit. If I tell you to wear a pink suit because you didn't want to put in effort, you're wearing a pink suit. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. So now he's like he's on board. We have thoughts, we have opinions, we have questions. And I'm
Yep.
like, this is
The
good.
opinions. That
Yeah.
is so necessary.
Yes.
So necessary. Because, like you, the only reason why we had a wedding was because he wanted a wedding.
Right.
And I remember I had like a literal mental breakdown, like sobbing. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so overwhelmed. All this stuff is all on me. What? Tell me what to do and I'll help. And I was like, I will fucking kill you if you tell me one more time. Tell me what to do. And then we had this big conversation about taking initiative.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it fixed a lot of things. But like, that's such a guy thing to like, just like, I'll help. Tell me what to do. Oh, this is such a hot topic with me because
Mm.
I still feel the anger from that
Yeah.
time period.
Yeah.
But yeah, afterwards he said, I remember he was like, I didn't realize how much it was gonna be like work wise
Yeah.
because we had like the world's smallest budget on purpose.
Yeah.
But he didn't realize how much work it was gonna be, and if he were to do it over, he wouldn't have made me go through that. And I was like, thank you. Like,
Yeah. You're
told
like
you. I literally fucking
validation.
told you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
said I don't want to do this. It's a lot of work. No, it's not.
It's a lot of work and it's also a lot of money and it's supposed to be a really special day, but
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes you see it the specialness of it gets pushed to the side because of
Yeah.
all of the workload and whatnot. But I think focusing on keeping like myself sane and like
Yeah.
also on a lot of people don't understand this, but like living with agoraphobia, I am concerned about everything. Like I need essentially, and it sounds kind of weird, but I need like an exit strategy for everything because my biggest I guess point of anxiety is like if I feel trapped, that is where
Mm,
I go haywire. So
mm,
even just thinking about, when we were buying our house or planning a wedding or being on an airplane or doing things where I am out of control in some sense. On your wedding, you are mostly in control, but there are some moments where, my brain goes, oh my God, what if I'm like feeling panicky when we're doing our first dance and all eyes are on us? And it's like, okay,
oof.
probably in the moment you're going to be happy and it's great, but that's where we're doing a lot of like work in therapy. And I always think, oh my God, what if I have a panic attack while I'm having my baby? Like that's where my brain goes
Mm,
a lot of the times. And people don't understand mental health in a lot of ways. And I know you are, that's a really important thing for you. You had a lot of, um, a lot of struggles there when you were really sick, like when you're like 20s. But
mhm,
people are all for like being a mental health advocate until it like gets ugly or scary or it's
mhm,
becomes really heavy. And that's why I feel like it's really important for us to have this conversation because like we've both experienced a lot and
mhm.
it's really validating to hear other people like have experiences or just being willing to share about that because like again, like people will start to judge you a lot as soon as like it starts to be too much.
And I also think sometimes, just from like people I've talked to, they can be judgy about the methods that you
Yeah,
use to
totally.
facilitate or to help with your mental health. If it's not like a very, very typical therapist, like if you're
Mhm.
using other methods, people are kind of like, what's that? Like it sounds hokey pokey, And I kind of
Yep.
used to be that person, I think. But as someone who's like literally trying to heal from the inside out, like I am so open to like all different types of things. Like you could tell me like try mushrooms. I'd be like, okay, like I'll just
Yeah.
try it. Like why not? So I think that's something too is like I've noticed people can get a little weary about methods that you're using that aren't quote unquote like traditional. And I think okay.
No, I was saying, yeah, like I totally like,
And I think a good conversation to have around this, I was talking to someone recently, and just like the understanding, I think, of mental health, of course, depending on your age too, like
hmm,
what that's really like. I was talking to someone and they were associating someone having poor mental health to not having like a sense of who they are and being insecure.
okay.
And I was like, "Tell me more. Like, why do you think because they're struggling with their mental health, like they don't have deep core values or like understand, what they stand for, what they believe in?" He's like,
Yeah.
"Well, you can't when you have poor mental health." I'm like, "Those are two different things,
Yeah.
right? Someone with depression or agoraphobia, right? Whatever it is, just because they have that doesn't mean they don't like have core values. Like it's something
Right.
you struggle with. It's something that you have intrusive thoughts where you might have a panic attack. It's not like, oh, I don't know if I, stand for racism or not, like and then
Yeah.
oh, I have anxiety. You know what I mean? Those are like two
Yeah.
different things. I think it's also like dependent on age, like depending on how old you are. It's just,
Yeah.
we still have an older society that just still doesn't understand a lot of things that our age and younger than us are like really, really open to. So I think it's always good to talk about.
Yeah, I agree 1,000% like to all of that to start being if people start to be judgmental about how you are working through and trying to help your mental health, whatever modalities you're using, that's like the biggest red flag of all because
Mhm,
you can't tell me how I'm going to heal myself and be better and vice versa because
mhm,
maybe I've tried everything you have done and it didn't work and I found something new
mhm,
and it's actually helping me. And maybe
mhm,
you've tried what I did and it didn't work for you. So
mhm,
it's just so dumb when that even comes up. I remember it was around Halloween one time, and I don't even know why this conversation came up because some dumbass people like to bring up hot topics like after there's been drinking going on. And I'm just like,
mhm,
why are you talking about this? So James and I and one of our friends, we were like smoking the hookah, and this other person like came downstairs and they were somehow antidepressants got brought up or like big pharma, and they were like, it's a way to manipulate people and nobody actually needs prescription drugs and like going on this whole thing. And I was
mhm,
like, you are really fucking weird right now. You're killing the vibe, first of all. Like, we weren't even talking
mhm,
about this. And second of all, I'm about to
mhm,
fucking punch you in the face because
mhm,
you're coming into a space where one, we don't know you. You are not welcome into this conversation. And you're saying really harmful things to an audience that you don't know. And you can have your own opinion on what you put into your body and what you're going to do for yourself. But like, I would not be living if it were not for antidepressants and mood stabilizers. Like, I would not be.
mhm,
So
mhm,
I get very protective when people do start coming at others for however they are working through their mental illnesses. Like for some people, somatic therapy works great, and I want you to talk about that. For some people, it's talk therapy. For some people, it's exposure therapy. For some people, it's a combination of a few things, medications, etc. Whatever it is, as long as it is like healthy, like it's good for you and we're not just like
Yeah.
self-medicating and doing,
Yeah.
maybe things that aren't necessarily the best for us. Why does it matter? Right? It just because
Because people,
that's where your fucking confidence get fucking it's kicked out of you because you're like, oh my God, now people are telling me it's wrong to heal in
yeah,
this way. It's crazy.
yeah.
But yeah,
It's
what
just like we always say, go ahead.
mm-mm.
I was gonna say, just like we always say, like whatever gets you in the door,
Yes.
because that most likely is not going to be the last thing you do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I got into fitness from CrossFit and it just wasn't, it was too much for my body. It's too much for a lot of people's bodies. And now I'm just lifting and, lifting at a slower pace, making sure I'm actually using my muscle and doing the form right, all those things. And
Yeah.
just like for myself, like human, like how antidepressants saved your life, Humira saved my life,
Mm-hmm.
right? If
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get on it when I did, I don't know what would have happened. I wouldn't be at this point now where I'm getting off of Humira. So
Yeah.
I think that's like super important just for everyone to understand. And I don't think anyone would get this idea wrong from us, but like we're not against using whatever you have to use to
Yeah.
get going because
Yeah.
of course long-term use of any medication is going to have side effects. Of course. That's like common information.
Yeah.
And the goal is not to be on something forever. I'm sure you're probably thinking at one point, I would love to be off antidepressants. I would love to feel right. No?
No, I don't care. Like to me,
Okay.
because that's where a lot of, I think, people, in my experience, people that
Mhm.
don't or haven't looked into their own mental health. They know they have problems, but
Mhm.
it's like, "Ugh, I'm not opening that door."
Mhm.
Or older people, like I've had this conversation a lot of times, but I don't actually care, right? I gained
Mhm.
weight from antidepressants. I've gotten to a place where I'm losing it. That was really my biggest symptom. And at this point in time, and even thinking about it in the future, I don't know if I will ever be in a place to come off of it because that is a space where that's going to take a lot of really really deep work, and I just don't really know if I care about that because truly
Mhm.
it's I take it at night, it's pop a couple pills in my mouth, and it does not make me feel one way or the other. It is just, it's a part of my routine. It's like I wake up and I brush my teeth. I take my medication. And I know my mom was for a while, she was always like, oh, maybe she would say this to my sister who has really bad OCD. She was like, oh, one day maybe you'll get off the medication. And we were like, Mom, stop saying that because that's not actually our goal. Right now, it's just like to heal
Mhm.
and like be in the best place we can
Mhm.
and see what happens. So I've never
Yeah.
actually thought about it in any capacity
Mhm.
because to me it just doesn't matter if that
Mm.
makes sense. I mean, maybe it doesn't
No,
make sense to
yeah.
some people,
No, I
but
I think it does. I think it's like 2 things are happening at once here.
hmm
Like me getting on Humira, I was not thinking about like getting off. I was thinking
right.
about like just get on so I can literally be able to walk. Like
Yes.
and that's kind of like reminds me of like for you, it's like just I just want to be at a level where I'm like happy and like
hmm
content, and then we could focus on something later on. So
Yeah.
like I'm not sitting here judging you like, oh, Allie never wants to get off. I think you just want to get to a point where you like feel really good, and then I can cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll be like
just,
if I live to 95, which, we'll put that out there. I'll still very likely be taking them because, and maybe I won't, maybe my mind will change, but to me, and there's probably a point of ignorance in this, but like if it's working, why change it? And I'm sure there are long-term side effects, but it's like this version of me doesn't care about that because it's not
mm,
more important than feeling how I feel
mhm,
now. Like I feel good. So I think it also comes with like you're saying, like there's a time and a place where
mhm,
you may be more open to a conversation. Like when you were saying when you got on Humira, you didn't ever, you didn't expect to be like, all right, this is the game plan to get off. It's like, let's just get on and get
mhm.
back to living somewhat of like your old lifestyle.
Now, I'm gonna challenge you because you
Sure.
said this, and
Yeah, yeah.
it piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Are you said doing the work and doing a lot of
Yep.
hard work to heal,
Yep.
does it scare you, or you just think like I just can't fathom doing that right now? Because I totally get that, because
Mm,
about over, I want to say it was like 2022, I remember like our mutual mentor, Lacey,
mm-hmm.
which we'll have her on eventually, but she said how, I remember she said she got healed from, she had like several autoimmune diseases. And I was like, come again? Like, I
Yeah.
never really heard of someone like healing from an autoimmune disease. And
Yeah.
I asked her, like, in front of everyone, I'm like, how did you heal? And she
Yeah.
was like, oh, I did X, Y, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was a lot of work here. And then I remember talking to my now coach, where I had no idea I was going to work with her. And I was like, I would love to get off Humira, but I'm just so scared of opening Pandora's box.
Yeah.
And I remember she says something like, you don't have to open that yet. You
Yeah.
can open it when you're ready. And I was like, huh, okay. And now here we are, over a year
Right.
into opening Pandora's box. It's a lot less scary. So is that how it feels for you?
Um, it feels unsafe.
Mm.
It's
That's how I
not,
felt too.
yeah, it's not a it's not I have a hard time believing that it would happen in a way that would be safe given
Mm.
where I was prior. And now I have different
Mhm.
tools and all
Mhm.
that sort of stuff, but looking at it just from like just like a biochemical standpoint, like I look at mental health very scientifically because that's what it is, right? Like when we are having um any type of disorders or whatever, there is a reason why that is happening. And so for me, I don't think of it as like I can heal from this or get over this. This is something that is it's in my DNA. Like have a very long family history of
Mhm.
similar mental illnesses. And so if I can learn about myself and live in a way that I learn to live with it, then I can show my children that it doesn't have to be something you're scared of. It can be something that
Mhm.
might be an obstacle, but it doesn't have to be this this thing you have to put so much pressure on getting over. I think for a lot of people, they are ready for me to just like get over my anxiety. Oh, you can do it. You'll just cross that bridge. You can just
Mm.
move forward. And that's actually not the truth. Like I might be in a place where it's less um less of a hindrance to my lifestyle, but it's
Mhm.
never fully going to go away because like part of that is always something can always potentially spark it. And that's the hard thing with like panic disorders because
Mhm.
they don't make a whole lot of sense. And
Mhm.
so I try and look at it as I don't put pressure on myself to like overcome it. It's just like how can we how can we jump over the little hurdles a little bit easier and easier and
Yeah.
easier moving forward? And like, I'm only been doing this for like 4 years, and it's been like a
Mhm.
very long, painstaking 4 years. So, like, maybe in another
Mhm.
four, I'll be
Yeah.
feel completely different. But I think just taking off the pressure, which I like how it was Julie who said that
Mhm.
you can open Pandora's box when you are ready. Like, how empowering was that for you?
Oh my god, I felt like a sense of relief, because I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, like, that's so true," and now,
Mhm.
like, she's probably, like, one of my favorite coaches I've ever worked with, because
Yeah.
just the way she approaches things. And, if I would have went off Humira as soon as my first coach wanted me to, I mean, I would get, like, I can't remember. Oh, do you know what, fission is?
No.
Fission, I think it's fission. My sister, we were talking about it the other day. It is, people like have this where you listen to music or something and you get chills, full body chills.
Oh.
It's like it's like a response.
Oh.
So I have fission like really easily with, like, I hear someone singing and it sounds like really angelic to me, or watching something, like I
Yeah.
get fission like super easily,
Oh, wow.
and negative and positively.
Yeah.
And whenever she said like, "Oh, I want to try us to start going off Humira like X date," I was like, automatically like full body chills. Like I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm starting to like freak out a little bit because the last time I was off Humira, I couldn't walk. I was having
Mm.
suicidal ideations. I,
Yeah.
would cry myself to sleep because I knew when I
Yeah.
woke up, I was going to be in 10 times more pain than when I went to bed. Like I had like when you go to the hospital or like
Yes.
an old people's home, they have like the rails on the bed.
Yep.
I had that. I had a toilet seat like extended because I couldn't sit. It was like my sister came home, I remember, from school, and she was like, "What the hell?" Because like she hadn't seen me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's
So,
really scary. How
mhm,
long was that time period where like things were okay and then did like shit just hit the fan overnight? Was it a fast,
nine
slow progression?
months.
Oh
Nine
my
months.
God.
Yeah. From one little injury and then bilateral pain, both
Yep.
elbows, both knees, both ankles. And then because I didn't have a PCP, I didn't have
Yeah.
anyone. I was not even 21 yet. And I was healthy. I had to get like a PCP. They thought I had Lyme disease like for so
Then you got to
long.
jump through all of the hoops.
And I was jumping from doctor to doctor. And I mean, I went to the Mayo Clinic and they like pretty much laughed at me. Like it was just like a whole freaking
Oh
thing.
my
Yeah, they didn't
God.
believe I was sick. I know. Yeah, it was and I did that
Fuck.
to my mom really wanted me to go because, my parents were scared, and
Yeah.
like I remember having a conversation with my parents like when I was really, really sick and I'm laying in bed because all I did was like lay and
Oh
sleep
God.
basically. And they're sitting on my bed like talking to me and I'm like, if I don't get better, like we're gonna have to get an at-home nurse. I was 20 telling them this. Hmm.
Oh my God. That is
Hmm.
so like,
Yeah.
what was their response? Like, I'm sure they
They
were
were
just like,
just like, you're gonna get better. We're gonna figure this out. So like you can imagine how scared they were,
oh my
like
God, I
really.
can't even.
Yeah, it was insane to think back like that was all happening, and
Yeah.
now like come to
God
find out
damn.
I didn't have the diagnosis they gave me, so that's hilarious. But I know, right? So what was I
If
going
we
with
don't
this?
laugh, we'll cry.
Literally, literally. But yeah, I think it's like, I think I come on the mental health side very different from yours because my
Yeah.
experience is much different. I
Yeah.
would love like and kind of like what we talked about, like I would love for you one day, Ali, to try somatic therapy. I think you would love it so much. I'm telling you, love it so
Yeah.
much. Again, I'm not telling you you have to do it. I just like my sister, we are talking about somatic
Yeah.
therapy, and she was like, I think I get like she asked me like how it feels like when you're in a somatic therapy session. And the way I explained it, she was like, I think I get that during yoga when they're playing bowls or playing like we went to a yoga class the other night and it was like it was like a water class, so like everything was flow based and then the
Oh
sounds she
yeah.
had on like was like water rushing and like the same feelings I get during somatic therapy she gets during yoga. So it's really cool, like you can
Yeah.
experience that kind of same effect in different modalities.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to my therapist
Mhm.
about that because I was like, I feel like right now, like in the wellness industry, like it's a really hot topic. And like
Mhm.
so many people are like trying to heal and do all these
Mhm.
things. And like
Mhm.
probably a majority of them like have no idea what they're doing, or they're just like seeing
Mhm.
people like you doing this work and they're like, I need to
Mhm.
heal. I'm in my healing era.
Yeah.
And I was like, it is just such a popular thing. And I was like, I feel like there's this pressure now around like talk therapy isn't enough. And he's like, I'm going to be honest with you, you're not ready for that. And I'm like, no, I don't really feel like I could do that at this moment
Mhm.
in time. I think I might just like be a fall in the ground and be a pancake.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's so
I think
funny
okay, sorry.
because no, you go.
No, no, keep going, keep going.
I was like, I just think it was so funny because I feel there are a lot of people like that I know or just online like that have not had good experiences in talk therapy, and is the best therapist I've ever had. Like we've talked about this before, but I've had several therapists
Mhm.
where I was like a liar.
Mhm.
I didn't give any info. I was just did not feel comfortable. I wasn't ready.
Uh-huh.
But he just like pinpoints like what is like he's like, "Oh, you said this," and that just like opened a whole thing, and like I didn't know you were viewing something this way. And I was like, Oh yeah, I always feel that way. And he's like, okay, so this is now what we're going to be working through. So it's kind of
Mm,
a cool experience that I've got to trust somebody that I can be
yeah,
so open with. And like, I'm down to try everything, but there is this, I feel in the new wave, like certain modalities are looked at as like, well, you should try this because this
better.
is better. And I think it just goes
Yeah.
back to like, we have to try what we want to try. And like,
And
if
are
you're
ready for.
if you're not ready for it, then that's a really good way to like have a dumpster fire mental breakdown.
1000%. Like I would not tell you like, Allie, go do it right now. I would love for you to be
Yeah.
able to do that
Yeah.
sometime in the future.
Yeah.
Literally just like health and fitness, right? When
Yes.
someone is really, really out of shape, do we tell them, hey, go rack the bar with over body weight and I want to see you squat it?
Yeah.
They're not ready for that. What is going to happen? They're going to crash and burn and probably get hurt. Same thing with your mental health, right? The very first introduction I had to mental health was my dream that I kept having my parents sending me to a psychiatrist.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? I believe it's true. It's not true. Anyway, but it was going to a therapist, I know, a
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
therapist, and
Yeah.
I tried maybe I think two or three
Yeah.
before I found one I loved. I loved her so much. Like we had great
Is this in the dream or in real life?
oh, real life, real life, real life, real life. Yeah, I was
I
kidding
thought
about
that's
the
what you meant, but
no,
I was like, did
no, no,
she
no,
did she not mention this part of the dream? Because it's getting real
no.
elaborate.
No, the dream for you guys that don't remember is I had a dream, a recurring dream, a recurring nightmare that like I was being attacked by like vampires, people were dying, and then I always had a recurring dream. My parents took me to a psychiatrist to talk about the recurring nightmare. My mom confirmed I never went. So I think it was like two dreams in one, two nightmares
Yeah.
in one.
Yeah.
But in real life, my first introduction to mental health was a few therapists, and I
Yeah.
struggled because one of them told me when I was struggling with body image, she was like, "You look fine." I was like, "You fucking suck."
Yeah. That's not cool.
No, like way to say what I'm feeling is invalid.
Yeah, it's
That's basically what
completely
she just did.
invalidating.
Yes. So went to her, hated her. We were not a fit. Went to another one. We just weren't a fit. Then I went to a new one, loved her. We had great conversation. She moved to a different state, so we had to, I know.
RIP. I hate that.
So so then the company she was working with like literally just like left me to rot on the floor and never got back to me about finding me a new therapist. So I know. And then I found a new one. She was amazing. I refer like a bunch of my clients to her because she's like a great talk therapist. She's like in her 60s and like she's into like more meditation. Like she just reminds me of like a
Mm.
hippie and I loved her and it was all talk therapy. Loved
Yeah.
her. And then through working on my autoimmune disease, like I just knew this was like a deeper thing.
Yeah.
And if you guys are familiar with anything about autoimmune diseases, women typically have 80% of autoimmune diseases and they also have higher rates of like mental health and like traumatic things happening to them. And I was like, this is connected. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying like I had a huge traumatic incident that happened in my life. It's just accumulation of things
Yeah.
happening to you,
I
which we all
mean,
have.
I'm gonna be real. You probably thought you were gonna die when you were 20.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. I did want to die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, or you either wanted to die or you thought you were gonna die. Like this is like
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
you describe your experience, that's pretty traumatic for a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I agree. I
that's
agree. But I mean,
crazy.
no, no, no. I totally agree. I mean, before I got sick, like there was nothing that was like
Oh,
really huge in my life,
sure,
right? It
sure.
wasn't like I was adopted or I was left, but it's like, yeah, that's probably really traumatic for a lot of people.
Oh no, it totally
Um,
is. I don't know why that was. I don't know why that was funny.
I guess that was like very
That's
okay. I
like
wasn't like
that's
in an
like
orphanage.
inappropriate laughter. I can't.
I wasn't like in an orphanage, like in a third world country, like that's probably traumatic, from what I've
100%,
heard.
100%.
Yes. But I did have, like, we all have a series of things that happen to you
Yeah,
while you're growing up that shape who you are. So, but yeah, I mean, of course, like, I said this on Justine's podcast. Like, it's just like, I mean, this is what suicidal ideation is. Like, I remember, like, when I was able to, like, I could drive, like, I could walk. This sounds terrible. I could drive better than I could walk at one point because, like,
Takes
driving doesn't
yeah, yeah,
require much,
that makes
besides
sense.
some, like, fast twitch muscles, I guess you could say. But I remember, like, driving, and I just felt so terrible. I was like, if I just, like, drove into that tree, it'd all be gone.
Yeah,
Like, I wouldn't be in pain anymore.
yep,
And, like, that's, like, wild to think at 20. Like, if I
yeah.
just drive into that, like, I'm not gonna have to cry myself to sleep because I'm gonna wake up and not be able to move.
Mm-hmm.
Because, with what I was dealing with, I would loosen up throughout the day. So, like, the
Yep.
first couple hours of being awake was literally torture. Literally torture. Like, holding a water bottle, a 16-ounce water bottle, couldn't do it. Was too weak.
Mm.
So, going through that, of course, that is freaking traumatic. But I
Yeah.
meant, pre,
Great.
that
Yeah.
happening. But I say all this to say is, like, I knew I needed, like, talk therapy was getting to those things,
Yep.
but I just have always felt like I have felt things really hard. I've
Yeah.
always felt like things to my core and have responses to, like, certain, like, authoritative figures giving me critique, and I have an automatic response of, like, crying or chills or just, like,
Mm.
defensiveness. And those things, I was like, this is something, like, I don't want to, like, get critiqued by someone, automatically cry. Like, I would love to, like, not have that happen anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when I worked at a gym with, like, a male boss, like, that was not helpful. I really, really had to, like, hold back the tears a lot of times. But just, like, I knew it was deeper. So then with my first somatic therapist, we were getting kind of deep, but I just felt like she, like, didn't it wasn't a lot of history, right? And with
Mm.
therapy in general, what are people's, like, main complaint? Like, when they don't like someone or they realize after a while they don't jive with this therapist, they're like, I don't want to have to start over.
Yeah, yeah, it's that is that is like actually traumatic in itself because then you have to like
Yes.
you have to start over and bring up the whole dossier of your
Yep.
childhood, that time in high school, all this. And I'm just like, can you just get the file and just like
I
study up
know.
and
I
because I
know.
I can't go through
Yeah.
this.
That's 100%. I was like, that's why I didn't start with my second to last therapist, because I was like, I don't want to start over.
Yeah.
But going through all these things, if someone told me way back when you need somatic therapy, I've been like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
It was small things over time that opened me up to, wow, my body's responding. Like, when I heard, I can't remember, there was something that happened when I heard someone playing a sound bowl for the first time and I started crying. I was like, okay, there is something here I want to explore.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like finding things that work for you and your
Yeah.
body. And that's why we don't judge people on the way they exercise, because it
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's like the last step of the method for them, but
Right.
it's finding what works for them.
Yeah. And going back to just whatever gets you in the door. Like
Yeah.
it may not be the end all be all way. It may not be where you land, but like I started working out from like 17 magazines or like BBG or Insanity or Jillian Michaels because like it was in the home and like I could
Yep.
gain some confidence. Looking back, I
Yep.
fucking hated it and I thought it was awful, but I am where I am today for some reason. And
Yep.
so, trying to not judge others or judge yourself, whatever wherever you need to start is where you need to be. um
Yeah.
and I think it's just like, especially with mental health, that's the last place we need to be like judging ourselves. Like physical health, mental health, we don't need to put the judgment there,
Hmm.
of like, is it too late to start, or I can never, overcome X, Y, and Z. Because that's a lot of conversations that I have with people in my life that are older that are like, it's too late for me. And I'm like, but it's not. Like mental health wise. Imagine if you started therapy. Imagine if you worked through this. You could enjoy the later half of your life probably much more
Hmm.
than you are. But it's that barrier of
Hmm.
like, well, I've made it this far. So, and it's like, no, I
I
don't understand that. I don't understand that.
I trust me, I've had the same conversation with a family member, and
Yep.
you know, it's like you could see how much better their life could be if
Yep.
they did this one thing. And it's just the resistance, and just like with anything with health, like that person has to want it. So if you
Yeah.
like have a spouse or a family member that you're just like, why can't you want to be healthy? Like,
Go
why
to
can't you just do it?
therapy.
Yeah, yeah. They just don't, they aren't in enough pain yet,
Yeah.
or they just don't want it for themselves yet, or whatever reason it is, you can't force someone to heal and be better and take care better. You can't. You can't force anyone to do that. So it just, yeah, it's from being like on a side of seeing like all the positives, like and how much better you feel. And it's just like, why can't you want that? Like I know why they can't, but like
Right.
I just wish.
That I mean, and it even goes back to my own experience. I was like forced to go to therapy at like a younger
Mhm.
age because my mom was trying to do the best that she knew how to do, and she was really trying to be proactive. Because I had so much anxiety. I had a lot of like disordered eating patterns. I was just like I was going through it. And she was like, well, I don't know what to do, but I know that you
Mhm.
probably need more help. And I wasn't
Mhm.
ready to go to therapy. I lied. I was not open. I
Mhm.
would just kind of like do the minimal that I had to do to get by. And because I was under 18, I knew she was going to be talking to my mom because you
Oh.
can. So that's even more. I was like, all right, I'm going to toe the line of like saying enough, but not saying too much because I didn't want to be there. That was not my choice. I was not ready. And so we can sit here all day long and be like, these people need to go to therapy. You need to work on your mental health. You need to prioritize it. But it's like anything. If you're not in the position where you're feeling like it's scary, but I'm ready,
Mhm.
then, nothing really good is going to come out of it because you're gonna be like me and just try and find a way to like sneak your way
Yeah.
through it. Yeah, it was
Was there a way
weird.
that you could have talked to your therapist and then not tell your parents what you guys talked about?
No, you're under 18, so
They
if
have to tell them?
they don't tell them everything, but it's like if there is concern, they have to share that
Mm.
because you're a minor. So certain things I was worried she would say. And I don't know if she would have, but I know she was at liberty to discuss things if she felt she needed to because was under 18. I think I started when I was like maybe 14 or 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I hated it too. It was like honestly, it was also like embarrassing as like being in like high school, middle school. And I would get out of class sometimes early at the end of the day because my appointment would be like kind of right around when school was ending, or a little bit after, or a couple times like I had a friend drop me off because when we could like start driving, I was on the younger end of like being able to drive. And I always just like was mortified. I was like, oh, this is like so embarrassing. Like, oh my God, I have to like go to therapy. And I'm
Mm.
like, now it's something that I'm just like, yeah, I have therapy. Like, in this my appointment. I'll be done later. I can, But before it was like so secretive and just kind of like it's like I have a doctor's appointment. I can't say it's therapy because that's embarrassing. And now I like
I have a
shout at
dentist
the
appointment.
rooftops. Yeah, literally. Like, bitch, how many cleanings are you getting?
One every month.
Yeah, yeah. No, it
Uh,
was like what it's every week. I'm like I'm on my. I've always been an every weeker, and I couldn't get out of it.
mm. Oh god. Yeah, I could see how that could create a negative relationship with therapy for you, like
Yeah,
starting that young, not having a choice, not really having like true safety to say whatever the heck you
yeah,
want, and
yeah,
express like how you're feeling. And I mean, kudos to your mom for like trying like something,
yeah.
trying something rather than nothing, I think is always a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. And she did kind of start to normalize that for us. Because I'm sure there are some people listening that their parents never talked about it, or it would have been weird for them to ask about. but
Mhm.
it was always okay and safe for us to like break down emotionally. Because even if
Mm.
my parents didn't fully understand or they didn't know what to say, it was never, oh, you're
Mhm.
weird or like this is unkind. It was always just like somebody is there and willing to listen, and like if they don't know what to do, they'll try and figure out what is the best thing to do. And that's like the type of parent I want to be in all
Mhm.
facets. Like my children are not, I am not going to be their first bully. And I think when that happens for kids, when they view their parents as like, I can't tell them things, they're going to judge me. Personally, not my vibe, not the type of parent I'm going to be. And
Mhm.
if I can do a little bit better than what was done for me, and what was done for me I thought was pretty good, then
Mhm.
I can like feel that much better about them feeling really open and safe, and not feeling any type of way about bringing conversations to their parents, because like you're supposed to
Mhm.
be their safe space. And a lot of people like a lot of people like don't have that experience, and like not everything always feels safe. Like something might feel safe and then other things might not feel so safe. So I'm trying to cultivate, my mom energy is like cultivating really safe environments and like non-judgmental environments,
Mhm.
because like that's the last thing your kid fucking needs, to come home and like be judged by you.
Oh, 100%. And, we were not open about feelings or about
Mm.
mental health or like anything growing up because, again, like how you perfectly said, like your mom did the best she could.
Yep.
My parents raised us kind of how they knew how best. And that
Yeah.
wasn't something neither of my parents were introduced to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my dad's a full immigrant. Like his family is all in Mexico, and he moved here when he was like 18 or 19. And my mom grew up with like hardcore Italians, like, growing up in the Great Depression. Like that's where my grandpa was like,
Yep.
working during the Great Depression. So mental health, like you feel depressed, like no, that's not a
Yeah.
thing.
Literally.
So
Oh, you're
so I
just
think for
lazy?
yeah, you're gonna cry. Well, here you're gonna make a nickel today. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's
It's like
you
you
know,
have no reason to cry because X, Y, and Z. And it's like, oh, you
yes.
have so much trauma yourself. Like this is all very
Yes.
sad for all of us.
I mean, I've said a million times, like, my grandpa called me fat when I was, like, 6. Like, it was very different, and I cried, and they yelled at me for crying?
Totally.
So,
Totally.
mental health was totally different in my family because they weren't shown the tools or shown how to be that, how to, uh how to take a situation and handle it with the tools that we have today because they weren't shown those tools.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like coming through, I think maybe that's why I like veer so far on the other side. Cause I'm like, give me all the tools, because I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
have those growing up. And not that I feel like I missed out, but now I'm like, okay, I didn't have them growing up. Now I'm going to use them and like, I don't want to say reverse the damage, but like find out why I'm feeling X, Y, and Z and,
Mm-hmm.
move past it.
Yeah. I don't think viewing it as like reversing the damage, but that's how your brain is kind of processing. It's like, okay, how can I make sense of all of this and kind of
Hmm.
undo maybe the bad feelings I'm harboring?
Hmm.
Because any grown person, if you ask them, there is all some sort of childhood trauma there. Because as we
Hmm.
said, parents are doing, for the most part, they are doing the best that they can. And they've never been a parent before, so they're gonna make mistakes. I'm sure as hell gonna make mistakes, but I can use my experience to try and
Hmm.
not make the mistakes or do things differently. But I mean, I'm sure they're still gonna want to, undo some things maybe. And I don't think that like reversing the damage is necessarily like the worst way to phrase it, because we're just
Hmm.
trying to make sense of it all and
Hmm.
not let it affect you in your adult life.
Yeah. 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 And then not like let it like get us sick because that's where a
Yes.
lot of
Yeah.
autoimmune diseases come from is like stress and holding on to feelings and like when you don't, and this is why I love somatic therapy, why I'm such an advocate for it, but
Yeah.
when you don't release the things that you're holding in, that's what gets you sick.
Yeah. Yeah. There was what show was it on? I can't remember, but it was like secrets keep you sick. And I always like think like
I
I
do.
whenever like my sister's like, oh, I shouldn't say it or whatever, and I'm like, secrets keep you sick because I just want her to like spill the tea.
Tell you.
But it is like so
Uh,
true, like stress or
uh-huh.
holding grudges, all of these sorts of more not negative emotions, but kind of
Anger. I mean,
anger.
who
Yeah.
was it? There was that during the what is the big tennis game? The Open tennis?
Oh, the US Open? Is that
Yes,
what it's
US
called?
Open.
Okay.
There was that, I don't know if she was Russian or what ethnicity she was, but when she would mess up, she would take the
Racket?
thank you, the racket and beat the crap out of it on the ground.
Oh
Like
my
it was
God.
insane. Like she would like mess up and then like bam, bam, like blow through two or three of them. And people are like, she's such a sore loser. And she said, either I release this anger or it's going to show up in a different way. And I was
Yeah.
like, say it louder. So true. So fucking true.
It is so true, but like, be so fucking for real. You will not catch me on camera doing that.
Well, that's because I think when it comes to the ways that we release anger, we hold like some people, like I don't really hold shame about a lot of things, and I think
Okay.
like if you feel like okay that would be awkward, to me I'd be like I don't give a shit, like I want to get through, you know what I mean, like I think if you
Yeah,
would, it depends on how you are with that. You may want to go
totally.
release it by yourself in a room, scream into a pillow. There's no right or wrong way
Yeah.
to do those things, but I think like even growing up, like you know, me and my sister have like vivid memories. Like my parents like didn't want us, like we would get in trouble if we were crying or like you know what I mean, stuff like that.
Oh.
Like releasing emotion is really
Mm.
hard for me, continues to be hard for me. So when it does happen, it's like just like get it
You just
all
let
out.
it happen.
Well, kinda. I started to like
Yeah.
getting there, but that's something
Okay.
for me that like has been hard. I'm like, this is probably why I'm sick. Not to
Uh,
blame my parents by any means, but like because they
yeah.
didn't know, you know,
Yeah.
no one knew. But I think that's something we need to do collectively better as like a society. It's like actually having the emotion is okay to have the emotion.
So I think I'm pretty good at expressing my emotions. I don't feel shame, but I also think you have to there are like social faux pas of like ways
Mhm.
to express your emotion.
Mhm.
And if I saw someone in like real life, and obviously US Open's a high pressure situation, but if I just saw a
Uh-huh.
random person like playing tennis and they were like acting like that,
Okay, yeah, yeah, I bet that person's kind of crazy. Yeah,
maybe a little bit.
that
But
I agree. That would I
like
would say
the
that's probably a little
idea.
bit crazy.
Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
idea of though expressing and just I probably wouldn't do it in that way, but I'm very good about expressing any emotion. I try and not let the anger come out ugly because I
Mm,
have experienced being on the other side of that. And
mm,
it is, I cannot be that person because it's very easy for me to turn to anger and to like lose my shit.
mhm,
Like that is so
mhm,
easy.
same, same.
So I work on when that anger is coming up. I'm like, okay, we need to take a minute back and you are allowed to be angry, but you are actually in control of how you are going to work through this. And so if we need to like be by ourselves and like do something to like get aggression out,
Mhm,
that's okay. But
mhm,
we're not going to take it out on the person that walks through the door that is
100%.
walking into a fire and they have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I can express anger way, way better than I
Yeah.
can express like sorrow or like
Yeah.
crying or just like feeling like letting that like letting something go. Like
Yeah.
that's so much easier for me to be angry at things and explode, like be explosive than it is to
Yeah.
like cry in front of people. Like
Is there like a stigma around that? Like,
yeah, like I said, like growing
was it
up, we weren't allowed to
okay
cry.
to be angry in the house?
I mean, my grandpa was like one angry man. Like he was evil. Like my grandma, my Italian grandma, we all joke around, stone cold hard bitch. And my sister and I were, oh yeah, she was. My sister and I were talking about this. Like, it's so crazy. Like, everyone says they love my mom, and she is like she literally, my mom is the nicest person, probably one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Her mother was the hardest bitch there ever was. Now, giving a little backstory, my grandma was dating full blown people in the mafia, like back in the day. So, like, you have to understand the generation she was
She's
from. Full blown,
hard. She's hard
full
as a motherfucker.
full blown mafia people. There's a funny story of my uncle, and he was working at a flower shop with my grandma. She always like worked at flower shops, and she had this rock. When I tell you this rock, it was almost like costume jewelry, so big. And she's just like walking through Pittsburgh with it, and Jerry was like, Agnes, you can't walk around with that. And she goes, it's so big people think it's fake. That was my grandma. And that was like a gift from like a mafia man.
Stop. What in the
Mhm.
hell? Oh my God. So she was
So,
just
and then
built different.
yes, she was beat by her husband. I mean, a lot of
Oh,
things. Yeah, so you can imagine what kind of childhood that like my mom like grew up in.
yeah.
And my mom is the nice person, like just showers up with love, like never got anything but love from my mom. So I can't remember why we got into this. Why are
Was
we
anger, was it okay to kind of show anger in the home as
oh,
opposed to the kind of, tears or sorrow where that
yeah, I
kind of like,
never saw tears or sorrow or like love from my grandparents. Like, it was like through action, you would say.
right.
But yeah, I think anger was always just like an easier thing to express because it's just easier for a lot of people, I
Yeah.
think.
I think it makes people less uncomfortable. Like they're more comfortable with anger versus seeing tears, sorrow, people having
It's like a norm, you know?
yes, yes, because it's like, yeah, you're angry and I don't need to fix that,
Hmm.
but you're just fucking angry versus if like you're crying, it's like, oh, what do I do with this?
Uh, do
Yeah.
you ever watch Grey's Anatomy?
Do I watch Grey's Anatomy, bitch?
You know who is like my alter ego?
Who?
You can't decide.
Oh, I'm supposed to guess. Who's your alter
Sure,
ego?
sure. Based on
Early
like
seasons?
mood, yeah. Maybe season 4 or 5, maybe because my sister's watching that currently. I watch a few episodes with her.
Ugh, I don't know. Maybe like I'm thinking maybe Callie.
Not 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 no. I knew you were gonna say Callie, not Callie because I look like her. I'm talking more
No, I
like
didn't
of
think it's because you look like her, but I think she was really
oh
hard at one point. Like before,
yeah,
like I think before she like came out, she was really hard and was like didn't really express
exterior
a lot of that emotion and like she was really only like let her guard down with George and then George fucked her over and the whole bit.
and then
So
died. Oh yeah,
R.I.P. Um
literally Christina
uh
Yang because no.
okay. Um yeah, but you're way kinder. Like even when Christina is like good, vibing, whatever. Like she's like very cold. And like that's just like her and Mare's relationship. So like I
Mhm.
understand why you see yourself a little bit in that, but I don't see you
Okay,
entirely.
that's that's good. It may have been just a few episodes I
Yeah,
saw because
totally.
whenever Izzy leaves Alex, he's like
Ugh.
crying, and Merritt's like, "Go hug him," and
Yeah.
she's like, and I'm like, that's kind of how I feel. Like hugging can be hard for me. Physical touch can be hard for me.
Mm.
So yeah, hopefully like we'll give an update in a year, and I'll be like, I love to hug people.
I do not love to hug people and I'm very open with my emotions. Um,
Uh-huh.
don't hug me. Some of my friends are like very physical touch. I'm just like, stop it. Or James, like, I'm like, stop it. Sometimes I'm like, I
Oh,
don't want to
I'm
be
the
touched.
same. I'm the same way. Like first thing in the morning, I'm like, get off of me. I just woke up. Like,
Like,
don't touch me.
literally.
Don't like stay on your side of the bed. I'll stay on my side. I'll see you in like 5 to 10 business days.
Like, we can have sex, but don't touch me. Like, I need some breathing room. Like, when he first comes home, I'm like, give me a big hug. And then I'm like, okay, enough. Like, I need to breathe. So,
Like
yeah,
it's like this when he walks in. Hi, touch finger. Okay, we're
literally, it's
good.
like, okay, bye. But it's just like,
That's so
and I
funny.
think that's also when you're confident in your relationships or when you're confident in yourself,
Mhm.
you are okay and you feel like you don't have to show up like, oh, I have to be this way because like that's how women are supposed to be, or that's how I'm supposed to be in a relationship. Like I can confidently say I show up authentically, and that anger is where I'm still trying to show up authentically because my first
Mm.
instinct is like I want to rip somebody's head off, and I'm like,
Burn the
please
house down.
don't actually do that because like that's not fair to whoever's about to walk in the door. So like I often
Yeah.
find myself doing like a, all right, we need to like go somewhere by ourselves. Um
Mhm.
yeah, because anger is so much easier to come from. Now I'm curious, do I give off any Grey's Anatomy character energy?
Well, it doesn't help I haven't, like, seen a ton of episodes. I mean, I've
Okay, from
seen,
what you've watched.
um because this is what I'm basing off who I remember right now.
Okay.
Izzy, Meredith, Christina Yang, Callie, Arizona, um, Gray, Little Gray,
Lexi, Little
yeah,
Gray.
Lexi. That's what they called her, so
Yeah, yeah.
maybe Arizona, because there are times where I talk to you about things and you give a very Arizona answer where it's like diplomatic and sees the other side. I'm like, bitch, just agree with me and be
Yeah.
mad.
Honestly, I catch myself playing devil's advocate too much. And I'm like, bitch, the
I
devil doesn't
know.
need an advocate. Like, just shit talk with Maddie. And I'm like, so I could see it from this side and this
I
side and
know.
this side.
Shut up.
You're like, that's not why I'm coming to you. I'm just trying to like talk.
Literally. Yeah. Yeah. So Arizona.
Iconic. We love that. Guys,
Mhm.
drop your Grey's Anatomy character below on the YouTube.
Ooh,
My fucking favorite show. Love it. If you need a
that's a
good
it's a
cry,
good show.
watch Grey's Anatomy. If you need to
I
laugh,
know.
watch Grey's Anatomy. If you want to fall in love, watch Grey's Anatomy.
Well, who would you pick? Would you pick McDreamy or what's his face?
McSteamy.
McSteamy. McDreamy or McSteamy?
Oh, well, here's the thing. They're both flawed men. They are both gorgeous men. I'm gonna
Mhm.
pick McDreamy because I'm a diehard and I love him. However, he's toxic as fuck, and I know that. He
How is he
gets
toxic?
because he called, so him and Meredith like broke up. They were like, okay, we're not gonna like see each other. And then she slept with the vet, and he's like basically calling her a whore for sleeping with the vet. And then she sleeps with George, but George kind of essayed her, and he's like, you're a whore.
Woo! George?
Yeah, so like it's not super obvious, but like she was like really drunk and like she's crying during
Uh,
it. And then like after a couple episodes, he's like, I shouldn't have taken advantage of you like that. Like there's acknowledgement. So like it's not
George
flat out.
O'Malley.
Yeah. Ugh.
They picked the wrong character to do that too. Like
Well, I
he
think because he's supposed to just be like this loser guy, he always loved Meredith. He saw like his opening to like, comfort her when she was vulnerable.
Oh.
And like she was kind of into it, but then she was like crying and she's like, just finish, whatever. And then the scene like cuts, like it was
Oh.
very uncomfortable. So yeah,
Mm.
like Derek calling her a whore, Derek giving her like all these mixed signals. He proposed to her and then he like hit the ring with a baseball bat. He cheated on her when he was in DC. Like,
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've
yeah.
watched all of them. I don't remember like anything.
But Mark
So I'm
is
gonna go.
also toxic in some ways, but he was gonna marry Lexi. He's
I
like,
know, and they die in the plane crash. That's so
I
freaking
like,
sad.
so I want both of them. I will take both. Thank you.
Wait, have you seen? Wait, hold on. I'm dying inside. Have you seen a trend on TikTok? And it was like, I want two boyfriends that are boyfriends. Have you seen? Can't breathe.
Yes. Yes, I do.
Agreed. And that is on mental health. I'm dead.
love that. That just made it. That made everything
Uh,
perfect and golden.
you're welcome. Mhm.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to close out with?
I don't think so. I think we said it all, and
Yeah.
yeah, my brain is like I quickly ate before this because I was making rice. It took fucking forever. I think I like did too much water. I was like, bitch, this it literally took 45 minutes. I want to die.
That's a long time for rice.
Yeah, I think I did too much
That's a long
water.
rice.
Yeah. Oh no, we're freezing.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
We are freezing.
Why?
I don't
The
know.
network is great.
Your face is frozen, but the audio is
Am I
coming through.
frozen?
I need to take a picture.
Is it still frozen? No, no, no. Is it still frozen?
No, it's good. It's good. It honestly, it wasn't a bad frozen face. Like you
Okay.
actually, like you looked fine, which is
Oh,
annoying.
that's a first. Not like yours were like,
Yeah, I'm always like, ugh.
yes. Well, I guess yeah, I feel like we covered a lot, you know. Find a therapist. You don't like them, try another therapist. Keep trying. Try different methods that feel good for you. And, you know, don't if someone's judging you for trying a different modality of
Mm,
whatever, you know, tell them just to shut up because
yeah,
they're insecure about what they're doing and they're probably just jealous that you're taking the next step that they're not taking. Let's be honest. It's probably what it is.
100%.
So yeah, pro mental health. Always. If you guys have a therapist, a speaker,
Mm.
mental health advocate you want us to talk to, drop their name, send it an email, drop in the comments. You know, we are always open to finding new people to talk to. You know, we are a very small podcast, of course. So like us being able to get like a big person, like, you know, one day in the future, maybe. But right now we're like looking for like the locals, the small people, and that will like, you know, want to come on. So yeah, but only other news, I have 5 spots open for one-on-one coaching. I will put the link below for that. But that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching Kind of Hot, Kind of Healthy. Please make sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star review, and share us with your girlfriend who needs to hear this. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere where you can stream podcasts. If you have a burning question about life, friendship, health, and 1 or 2 cents, email us at kindahotpod@gmail.com. That's KINDAHOTPOD@gmail.com. Bye.
Bye.